Cobra la 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 la. Hello and welcome to another episode of Stories in the Toy Shelf Unscripted. And today, I thought we'd have a sort of a little bit of a group unboxing since I've got a little bit of a backlog here of stuff that, I finally got around to getting. And in case you're wondering, I know a lot of you guys also watched Destro is My Spirit Animal, the other YouTube channel. I'm a big fan of that guy too. And just a few weeks ago, he and Bobby Vala actually did pretty much the same thing. And before you accuse me of being a copycat, well, you know what they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So I figured, why not give it a shot myself? Since these guys are the latest bunch of classifieds that I've been gathering. So anyway, just like Destro is My Spirit Animal planted that seed of the idea of this video in my head, Globulus also planted the first seed of the first guy I'd like to talk about in this video. And that would be the Cobra Emperor himself, Serpentor. Okay, so let's get the first thing out of the way. I was never a huge Serpentor fan. I was always the OG Cobra Commander. And I mean, he was kind of a novelty, but his novelty quickly wore off, especially in the cartoon when he quickly became a one-note, this I command type of guy. But so when he was announced, or when he was released in the classified line, I still wasn't collecting G.I. Joe classified. So for me, it was just one of those, oh, that looks cool, but whatever. That being said, there's no denying he's a fantastic looking figure, right? And when I eventually fell into that G.I. Joe classified hole, he just had to be part of the collection. Because like, love him or hate him, he is part of Cobra lore and Cobra history. He's the Cobra Emperor, and he's a perfect foil for the leadership of Cobra Commander. And again, a fantastic figure. Unfortunately, by the time I decided that I wanted him in my collection, this guy was hella expensive, like in the secondary market, right? I mean, like, I'm not an expert in prices, but I'm guessing he's probably around $200 to $300 now. So yeah, it was more of a pipe dream for me. But lo and behold, one day I found a guy on Facebook selling this dude, and so this guy was an exclusive in 2023, and I think Dr. Mindbender was also an exclusive. Again, these guys all came out during the time when I wasn't collecting, so I don't exactly know when they were released. But yeah, so this guy was selling Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender, so loose but complete, for a combined price of, I would say, just slightly over $100. So I mean, considering you could barely get this guy for under $200, this guy plus Mindbender, it was a no-brainer. So yeah, I was lucky. I was really lucky. Chances are this guy will get a re-release just like Mindbender, most likely in the retro line. But I doubt he will ever be released again with his Air Chariot. So 6-inch line, 6-inch figures. I don't really care much for vehicles, but when it comes to Serpentor, his Air Chariot is pretty much kind of an extension of himself. I mean, he looks cool standing on his own, but giving him his Air Chariot kind of, gives him the whole Emperor vibe. And I mean, for what it's worth, it's a really great Air Chariot. And funny thing, I had this for months before I realized that, the mouth could open and reveal an extra weapon. Oops! Sorry, I didn't have time to check if he was securely fastened. But yeah, so I mean, it's a great vehicle. I just have to figure out a proper way to store him because he takes up a lot of space. Again, space is limited in this house. But yeah, I mean, what else can you say about Serpentor? Technically, Serpentor was introduced before the whole idea of Cobra-La came along, but the movie kind of cemented his origins as part of it, so he counts. And as far as Cobra-La is concerned, I know Cobra-La is a very controversial part of G.I. Joe history. A lot of people hate it. I don't. I like it. G.I. Joe has always been not purely military. I mean, if that is G.I. Joe to you, that's perfectly fine. But for me, there was always that fantastical sci-fi element. And, the introduction of Cobra-La kind of opened up the world for me. And I loved seeing how they slowly revealed how things work in the kingdom. All these little details, like the red carpet for Serpentor was laid out, and there were all these tiny little crabs. They put a lot of thought into fleshing out the whole organic kingdom. So I thought that was cool. So anyway, enough blabbing. Let's get on to the main event, which is Cobra-La. So like I said, even if I had fallen into the whole rabbit hole of G.I. Joe Classified, I had to pick my battles. I couldn't exactly just get everything. I mean, funds were pretty limited, and these Cobra-La guys, I guess Hasbro's solution to releasing a controversial product was to make them exclusive. So if you wanted them, you spend the extra for them. But I mean, they came with a lot of extra stuff to make up for the price. But if you didn't want them, you didn't need to get them. So when Nemesis Enforcer, well, actually now he's Nemesis Immortal, came out, I ignored him too, because I figured, I like Cobra-La, but again, pick your battles. So big mistake, because I missed out, and eventually, if you collect, his price, secondary market price, shot up like crazy. And so he was always kind of like the white whale for me, because when Hasbro released this girl, Pythona, I already having missed out on Nemesis Enforcer, told myself I could not miss out on her. So Pythona, there's a strong argument to be made that she is the best character out of Cobra-La. She was the first one introduced in the movie with that cool action scene where she infiltrates the Terrordrome effortlessly. But aside from that, she was the only member of Cobra-La, main member of Cobra-La, that didn't get an action figure in the 80s, right? So Cobra-La made their toy debut as a 3-pack with Nemesis Immortal, or Nemesis Enforcer, Globulus, and the Royal Guard. But Pythona was nowhere to be found, and so she sort of, I don't know, I guess for many fans like myself, she sort of reached legendary or mythical status. Everyone, the one character that they did not do. And I mean, if she were a minor character, that would be fine, but she was a major character in the movie. Like, she was the main female antagonist against Jinx and stuff. So yeah, I guess for a lot of people, they really wanted a Pythona. Eventually, we got a Collectors Club exclusive in, I would say, in the early 2000s, which I did get. Again, I was knee-deep in, waist-deep, or completely submerged in 25th anniversary G.I. Joes. So it was a no-brainer to spend a little extra for that version. But I've since sold off a bunch of my 25th anniversary stuff to kind of fund my whole classified things. My classified Joes. So, and unfortunately, well, when this was announced, it made it easier for me to let go of Pythona, my modern 25th anniversary version, because this one is so awesome. And even exclusive or not, I decided I am getting her. I'm not gonna miss out on her like I did on Nemesis Immortal. So yeah, so it was a no-brainer. It sucked to sell off my 25th anniversary Pythona, but this more than made up for it, because as great as that figure was, this is just amazing. I just love the head sculpt. And she came with, I mean, she's tiny. To be fair, as far as classified Joes are concerned, Serpentor is enormous. But yeah, she's very tiny. But head sculpt aside, the detailing, how do you do this? I'm not really, how do you focus the camera? Sorry about that, wait. So yeah, look at the detailing, it's amazing. And yeah, so she came with so much accessories, I mean, the cloak is it wired? No, it's not wired, but it's pliable, and so aside from the multiple hands, display options, right? Yeah, so another more stoic head, the clam with the spores, I believe, face hugger that she unleashed on the Crimson Guards. It's been a while since I've seen this sequencer, but a lot of stuff, right? A lot of display options, which is cool. So yeah, so that's Pythona. And for the longest time, basically, yeah, that was it for me for Cobra-La. I was happy with Serpentor and, Pythona at his side. But that damn collecting bug, that collecting itch. And so eventually I caved. And so, again, while I initially ignored this one, I eventually got around to getting him, which is the Once a Man Cobra Commander. So, from here on out, this is sort of going to be like a little bit of an unboxing, I guess. My rationale for not getting this initially was, again, I wasn't knee deep in, I wasn't like committed to Cobra-La yet. And I mean, it's a cool figure, like action figure, but for me, it's all about display, right? Where would I display him? And I couldn't imagine a place where I could display this Cobra Commander. But anyway, once I was fully committed to getting all my Cobra-La classifieds, this guy was also a no-brainer. So let's see. You know what? Screw it. So I thought I could do a whole unboxing thing, but I figure, let's spare you guys the whole wrestling out of the clamshell and the plastic. And let's just do a first impressions. So Once a Man Cobra Commander. What can I say? I mean, well, yeah, it's Cobra Commander, half snake. Comes with your typical Cobra Commander accessories, the different hand options, and broken mask that falls off with the circuitry inside, which is pretty cool. And yeah, but I mean, all these things are just window dressing, right? I mean, the real star of the show is this guy, and the real star is his head sculpt. Well, actually, no. Yeah, so it's a progression, right? So first you got Cobra Commander. After the spores, ripping out his exposing his chest, and still looking kind of normal, except a little bit more scaly. This back up, and then the mask comes off, and we're left with this dude. Okay. So I love the fact that he's not just a snake, but a mutated snake. So he's got, well, actually no, didn't he have these extra eyes as a Cobra-La resident? But anyway, yeah, and then eventually he turns into this guy, right, wrapped around roadblock. So again, it is a mutated snake with arms, minimal articulation, but you don't really need much. But I just love this whole detail of the extra eyes. And then he eventually evolves into a pure snake, which did not come with this set. It came actually with Serpentor, so the fully mutated form of Cobra Commander. But, I love how years later they released the Battle Armor Cobra Commander, and he came with this. And if you don't know, in the Deke series, that sort of like continued the whole G.I. Joe cartoon universe in an awful way. But anyway, they did continue it, and in that continuation, Cobra Commander did come back. He started off as the snake, and he came back. He was, by some mystical power, the Baroness brought him back, and he came back battle armored, and he took over. He took back his throne from Serpentor and subjected him to some mutation machine. And at the end of the day, this is how Serpentor ended up. So what comes around goes around. But anyway, yeah, nothing else to say about this guy. I mean, he was just someone I had to get because I had pretty much completed, well, spoiler, well, actually you saw the boxes earlier. I had pretty much completed what was out there for Cobra-La already. So he shall be part of the collection. I think, I wish they had given us, instead of these extra hand options, maybe like ungloved hand. I don't know if he was ungloved in the movie, but it would have been cool to have these like clawed hands to add to this version of Cobra Commander. But that's just nitpicking. Again, not essential, but I guess it does complete the whole Cobra-La set. So Once a Man Cobra Commander. And then we have the big boy, my white whale for the longest time. I finally bit the bullet and got him at a still secondary market price, but not as crazy as he was going in most places. So one of the local sellers here had a late shipment of Nemesis Immortals, amongst other things, and I jumped at it. And he had 3, and I got the last one. So yeah, let's get this guy open. And so we have the big boy, Nemesis Immortal. Actually, I kind of like, what do you guys prefer, Nemesis Immortal or Nemesis Enforcer? Honestly, I honestly can't, don't have a preference. But yeah, so this is a first impression. This is the first time I'm actually holding this guy fresh out of the box. Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? He's, again, a big boy, pretty big. The wings, I know this is controversial. How do you manipulate these things? They are kind of odd, but I mean, whatever. You know, it's unique, right? It's a unique kind of setup for the wings, and it does give him a good silhouette. Kind of like from the front makes him look like he's like Stratos, where the wings are attached to his arms, but they're not. They're from the back. But yeah, I mean it's decent. I mean it's perfect. It's nicely sculpted. I mean the wings and everything, and so he comes with twin swords, which can be holstered on his sides, two closed fists, and an alternate head sculpt, with a more bony visage. I think I'm gonna stick with this one. It looks more, which is the original. I think this is sort of like the original one. I'm guessing, because these classified dudes, they like to add details, so extra modern flair. So I'm guessing this is the new one. But anyway, yeah, if these wings aren't your thing, they're removable and replaceable with this thing, which I think the original toy had these tentacles. Which, they work, bendy rubber with wires inside. So, actually that kind of looks cool. So if your shelf space is limited, you can stick them with these guys instead. But I was told that this is supposed to be, if you want to keep the wings, this guy is actually a. So again, why I love Cobra-La, it's like every single thing, every single detail is thought out, and every single accessory or bridge or tunnel is an actual living being. So I thought that was pretty cool. So Nemesis Immortal, with his little buddy Cobra Commander, the once-a-man Cobra Commander, and his lady Pythona. Well, don't worry, I'm gonna do a nice money shot, a nice group shot at the end. But anyway, yeah. So I finally got him. Right? I mean, it didn't cost me an arm or a leg. I finally got myself my Nemesis Immortal. And finally, at least for now, we have this guy, the Royal Guard. So let's get him open. And so finally we have the Royal Guard, who's meant to be, well, obviously he's meant to be an army builder. And when it comes to army building, I guess in toys, I guess there are two philosophies. One is you can release them as bare bones as possible. Well, sort of like not so much bare bones, but like how Marvel Legends did it. They released like the hand ninjas and aim soldiers, I believe in pairs, but very very sparse. what's the word? Very low key with regards to accessories. So basically, at a cheaper price, and so you could it facilitates army building, because the whole point is you buy multiples. Or you can go the other route, which is stuff them with a whole lot of accessories and display options. That way you can buy multiples and have them all look different and fill out different types of soldiers, I guess. And that's the route they went with the Royal Guard, because I believe, so first he comes with this head, which is actually two heads, which is the unmasked look, which the original toy didn't have. So the original toy from the 80s came with this bug helmet, and that's how he was depicted in the movie as well, with this bug helmet. And so this head is supposed to be like what those regular Cobra-La citizens look like, and actually kind of reminds me of what Cobra Commander looked like. I mean, it probably was what he looked like before he got mutated by the spore. So, hey, display options, does it fit? Because it's a nice head sculpt, but I am not using it for my soldier. Oh yeah, so it fits on Cobra Commander. So hey, another option for Cobra Commander. But anyway, yeah, it's not the head of choice that I would use. I mean, you're not having your Royal Guards unmasked or displaying them on, break time or something. So nice sculpt, but useless. Which again, kind of echoes the sentiment that Bobby Valla made in the video with Destro, My Spirit Animal, which is, again, they're supposed to be army builders, because the drawback of stuffing these toys with so much accessories is it raises the price. So it kind of discourages the whole point of army building. I mean, if they had just given this basic figure with, I believe this is the classic I could be wrong, but this was the classic weapon that the original Royal Guard came with. I mean, lower the price, and who knows? Maybe they'll do it in retro, but it would have made army building. I'm not really an army builder, but like back in the 20th anniversary line, I would get 2 of each soldier. So in case you could use them to flank the officer or like Cobra Commander or someone. And I probably will end up getting 1 more of these Royal Guards, but further down the line, when we eventually get, again, spoiler, we don't have Globulus yet, so he's probably going to be announced hopefully this year. But when we do get him, I'll probably get a second one just, to balance things out. But that being said, until then, so this guy came with a whole lot of accessories again. So these are like extra armor for the arms, shoulder pads, larger shoulder pads, and this awesome, like, I guess meant for like the leaders, the squad leaders. This crazy rhinoceros beetle inspired helmet. So, and yeah, so the original guy came with a cape, I believe, but now this guy comes with wings. So again, options. But again, at the end of the day, it makes army building kind of difficult. So let's deck this guy out and see what he looks like. So yeah, with all these extra parts, he looks like a completely different character. So I guess the designers had this guy in mind as, like, let's say, Royal Guard General or whatnot, but I don't have any plans of army building these guys. So in my display, I figure I can make this guy a unique individual. Again, leader of the Royal Guard. Can you guys give me suggestions for names? But yeah, he looks cool, and he looks like he could stand toe to toe. Okay, maybe not toe to toe with Nemesis Enforcer. So I would like see these guys as the 2 main henchmen of Globulus, right? So Nemesis Enforcer, and maybe this is Nemesis Enforcer and this is Nemesis Immortal. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I could imagine this guy as his own individual character. And who knows? Maybe eventually get 2 more Royal Guards to flank this guy. But as it is now, I think he stays as the Royal Guard. Give me any ideas for names in the comments, what I can call this dude. But anyway, that should be it for now. And so there you have it. G.I. Joe Classified Cobra-La, what we have for now. Obviously, we're missing the big snake, Globulus. Again, hopefully this year we'll at least see him. But yeah, for now, yeah, I mean, love him or hate him, like, Cobra-La has always been the controversial, I know, stepchild of the lore. But I don't think you can deny that the guys at Hasbro, the designers, really amped up these figures. Like, you may hate the concept of Cobra-La, but I don't think you can deny how much love was put into these guys and how awesome they look. I mean, yeah, you can completely ignore them if you're into the whole completely military, aspect of G.I. Joe, which again is perfectly fine. But for me, I like the whole thing, right? I mean, okay, maybe I'll Ninja Force I'll take, but maybe I'll stop at Eco Warriors. But that being said, how can you not love Cobra-La? So until next time, until we get Globulus. By the way, how do you want your Globulus? Do you want just the whole half snake thing, or you want this whole hovering thing with him? Let me know in the comments below. So yeah, Cobra-La, Serpentor, Cobra Commander, Once a Man, Pythona, Nemesis Immortal, no, let's call him Nemesis Enforcer, and Nemesis Immortal, or the Royal Guard. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Cobra-La, la, la, la.